Welcome back, guys. I've decided to play one more session. In the description, there is a whole bunch of information about what this is all about and everything. Otherwise, it might be a bit confusing for you. So I have basically been working really on myself a lot lately, and one of the things that's been really difficult for me to deal with, that I've been working hard to work on personal development wise, is I really want... We're going to work on this today, by the way. I think I'm going to bump out this entire wall. I've been really trying to work on, for myself, a patience with myself, but also I want to be able to get more things done and to stop kind of shying away from really difficult tasks. And today has definitely been that way for me. I haven't started the edits for the Hitchhikers series, and it is starting to get late in the game for sure to get that stuff done. And so, as I sit here working on this project, I felt a little bit guilty that I haven't really come up with a big plan or anything, and been trying to work on other tasks and different things, but I stopped the last episode around, I think, noon or something, and did a couple things, took a shower. We should really just put these are just a pain to remove, but I'll put one down so we don't have to keep going upstairs. Yeah, so I did took a shower and kind of relaxed for a bit, trying to get myself into the zone, if you will. And I came back, and even though, you walk away from something, eventually it stares back at you and says, I'm still here. Still need to get done. And that can be really challenging. For me, just doing it is really difficult. I feel like I've got a lot of stuff piling up around me. I feel like there's so much that I need to do. And it's really difficult to pin my finger on everything that I need to do. And so it kind of makes me feel a little bit guilty about playing here. And on the other side of the coin, I really don't want to do any of the stuff that I need to do in my life. And so I've been trying to figure out this week, for my own sake, what it is that I need to do for myself. I think, yeah, we wanted mossy cobblestone blocks for that. What it is I need to do for my own life to really hammer home these things and deal with them in a reasonable way. And I found oftentimes that the brute force method doesn't work very well. At least not for me. I know a lot of people. That's like what they call their modus operandi. They brute force it. One of my good friends, who's allowed me to have the job that I have, not allowed me. That sounds really weird. Who was the person to get me the job that I have currently? He's one of those people. He's a brute force person. So what that means to me, anyways, is that when somebody's like, "All right, we need to get this done," he's like, "All right, boom, let's get it done right now. Here we go." I'm not like that. I like a lot of quietness, peacefulness. we talked about a couple episodes ago or last episode or something about how I really enjoy my weekends. They're really precious to me because nobody's asking for stuff. And if I have weekends where I have to do sort of anything, it becomes a challenge because now people are asking things from me. And I know that's not what I want for myself. But there's always this constant fear that if... One right there. Cool. There's a bit of a constant fear that if I don't, I guess, stand up for my time, if you will, then somebody will, I guess, steal it in a way. And I know that's silly, and that's not true. But when I have people in my life asking for things, and I have stuff to do and places to go, a lot of those stressors really, really rear their heads. And part of being in the present moment, well, being in the present moment is not easy, first of all. But part of being in the present moment is recognizing that those problems are not the problems of today. So as much as I somehow wish that I could just skip ahead to, the week after next when I'm back home, where I wish that I could stop time and just kind of process things as they come. Life doesn't work so easily. Not that way. And so for me, it's like, well, I really wish that I didn't have to do this or that. And the reality is, so don't a lot of people. And so that brute force method that I'm talking about, in a lot of ways can feel like you get better results. And so I can judge myself by that. I can say, well, if only I adopted the brute force method, something I know doesn't work for me, if only I could adopt that, then I could get more stuff done too. I know it's about to get dark, but hopefully we can get at least a little bit of glass to finish this thing off, and then we can start working on the outside. Well, if I know it's not going to work for me, then it's not going to work for me, and I need to find a different method. And I think it just illustrates how so often in life we, I guess, judge ourselves based on what other people are doing and never think about, what works for me or you, or, we don't think about that in terms of trying to make something that is custom to us. And like everything else is custom. Your shoes, your clothes, all of that stuff has different sizes and stuff. And so we recognize the spectrum of that, but there's a lot of times I feel like we don't recognize the spectrums on. A lot of things that we don't recognize the differences on. And even still, like, you can get even more custom than that, right? Like, your shoe size, at least in America, it's like 6 or 6.5, but maybe you're really a 6.2371. It's just like everybody's feet are shaped completely different too. So, we need carpet, and I found it. So it's really easy, I think, to think about it in terms of that. It's really easy, I think, to really harshly judge ourselves in a lot of ways and tell ourselves that we should be able to do better. We should be able to do more or be like other people and get the same results that the other people will. Well, if you want the same results that what other people do, contrary to what you might think, you can't just repeat what they do. You can learn from what they do, but you have to try it out and find what works and what doesn't work. And that's not something that a lot of people do, because what we do is we say, it didn't work. Or it did work. You know, maybe you're someone that, like, tried something and you're like, oh, it did work, so that's for me now. And the problem that can arise when we do that, on the other side, is when it's something that does work for us, we can start to adopt it and then over-adopt it, and not realize that there's flaws that if we only realize, pick up on, and kind of work on making better for ourselves, we limit ourselves to what we're able to do. We limit ourselves for being able to grow and learn and adapt. And so all of these things that I am learning about myself, it's like trying to get that very custom shoe, you know? And so trying on the generic shoes and then fine-tuning things a bit. I'll be interested to see how this weekend and the next week progresses, because I will have some time tomorrow. And there's some choices that I can make. One of them is literally just playing this all weekend. And the other one is really taking advantage of the silence and quietness of the weekend to get things done. Interesting. When you go upstairs and get one more sign. And then we're actually done with the interior. Well, we need to do a couple redesigns here, but the museum is complete for this version. So yeah, I think it's important that we remember and recognize all of the efforts that we put into something. And I think it's equally important to give ourselves a little bit of a break. You work really hard at what you do. You work really hard at making whatever you make. And you should enjoy the process. And if you're not enjoying the process, that's really the litmus test. Not was it successful or not. And I think once we start judging ourselves by was it successful or not, we get into a very scary world. Because we stop being kind to ourselves and recognizing that things are difficult. Sort of an ambiguous thing to say, but doing anything in a lot of ways is actually pretty hard. And as silly as it may sound, you should be proud of yourself when you do accomplish things. Because you just never know. What you did might be the hardest thing for someone else to do. And give yourself a little bit of grace. Because someone else may not have been able to accomplish what you did. Someone else may not have had the willpower to be able to do what you did. I think that's important to remember. And so, for me, every time I hit that render button on an episode, I think, oh man, I got it done. Here we go. We'll get to see how it does. And I think I'm going to stop doing that. I think I'm going to be like, am I happy with the result? Maybe I need to give myself another day. Maybe I need to give myself some time to really think about, did I do a good job on it or did I not? Am I happy with what I did, or do I feel like I could have done better? is there a way to make this better that I would enjoy? And feeling, I think I was starting to explain this earlier, but doing this, I feel like a totally different person when I started that other Let's Play. The Hitchhiker's Let's Play that I, not at the beginning, but I mean like the literally the previous episode. And so in some ways I want to restart the whole thing. But I recognize that if I do, I'm going to have a really hard time. But now that I'm thinking about it, this was weeks ago, maybe I really should just redo the whole thing and spend some more time on it and give myself another week and just let go of the anxiety and stress of having to think about the edit and think about the performance. And that's such a powerful thing. And then this weekend I can just focus in on the other things that I have to do. But this is exactly what I need sometimes, honestly, is I need some time to think about things and figure out what I want to do when I make a decision about something. And I find it's actually sometimes really difficult when I think about those decisions to make them in the moment, and in a lot of ways not even wanting to explore the idea because of how intimidated it can sometimes feel. But I also think it might be important to, I don't think it might be, it definitely is important to give some thought into that and say, okay, so I want to do this and these are the goals that I want to achieve. How do I achieve them? Alright, we need to think. Maybe this is the right answer there. That. Yeah, we'll keep going with that theme. Just like that. We need some color. I mean, I like it, don't get me wrong, but everything's so gray. Let me, maybe we need a tree right here. I think what we also need to do here is, I think it's gonna end up being like something like that, and then we're gonna pull this out and it's gonna go down. So like that, and then gonna have to go down like this, and that way it'll cover this portion here, so it'll go down as stairs to this part instead of all of this. A little bit longer of a going up. This definitely reminds me of old school Minecraft though. That's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, I don't know what to do. It's the wood texture just really brings out stuff. And not having that, kind of a bummer. Well, I think that's gonna do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and helping me work through my problems. I hope you guys learned stuff. I hope you guys think about this and think about it for yourself, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm using this series to think about. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.